Okay, so welcome everybody. This is the Premier Chess Adult Beginners Fall 2020 Week 8. So we're going to be talking about forks here. And not the fork that you eat with, but the fork in the road, right? Attacking two things at the same time. So so let me ask you guys, which pieces can deliver a fork? What do you think?
A knight?
Knight is a very knight's one of the best pieces to deliver forks. Why? Because it moves so unusually, right? So
Yes.
it's very effective. So yeah, what else can deliver a fork?
Queen.
Queen. What else?
Bishop.
Yeah. And what else?
Pawn.
Pawn. Yeah. And what else?
Can king? I don't anything except king.
King can deliver a fork. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
unusual. It's very unusual, but king can deliver a fork. Yeah. and the rook. So basically, all the pieces can deliver a fork. So a fork is defined as what? How would you define a fork?
One piece attacking two pieces or more?
Yeah, two or more pieces. Yeah. So yeah, knight can attack two pieces or it can attack three, sometimes four. And usually we say a piece is forked or a piece is forking your opponent's pieces when it's attacking pieces of larger value. So if a knight is attacking an unprotected pawn, we wouldn't really say that's a fork, even though the pawn's unprotected, right? So it has to be a piece of larger value. Okay. So let me just read to you real quick. I got a little definition here. In chess, a fork is a tactic whereby a single piece makes two or more direct attacks simultaneously, also called a double attack. Defender finds it difficult to counter two or more threats in a single move. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so besides attacking pieces, the target of a fork can also be key squares. For example, a direct mating threat could be utilized in a fork. You could be attacking, let's say, a queen or a rook, and then setting up a mating threat. So that would be another example of a fork, even though it's not two pieces, right? So or like setting up a battery between a queen and bishop to threaten mate. That could be a fork. Yeah.
So they're threatening a square? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is it? Yeah, so you could be threatening a square. Yeah, besides threatening two pieces, you can simply threaten a square, a key square, right? So okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. Let me just let's see, share screen. Let's see here. All right. Okay, everybody sees my board, right?
Yep.
Like that. Okay, good. Okay, so let's start here. So we're gonna start really basic first. Okay, we got one more. So in this position, very basic fork. What do you think? Best move here. Start off easy to get your confidence up. What do you think?
Knight to e7.
97, yes, 97. Anybody know what this kind of fork is called? There's a specific name for that.
Is it a royal fork?
Say again?
Is it a royal fork?
Royal fork, yeah, that's it. King and queen is a royal fork. So that's like one of the most powerful forks you can do. Yeah, beautiful. All right, so it's a basic royal fork. Okay, next one. Now here's a fork where it's a little combination. So it's not a one move fork, but it's a little combination to achieve the fork. Anybody see the little combination here?
What do you mean by combination?
Meaning the last position was one move fork, right? You just one move and you're forking your opponent. This is not one move fork, so this is a little combination. So a couple moves.
How about the knight on e3?
Okay.
Moves to f5.
Knight e3 f5.
And then the queen, white queen moves to g7.
Not forceful enough. I mean, it's not check, so you're giving black options to do anything he wants, basically. So I mean, he can just take the knight, you know. So yeah, it has to be forceful moves. So what do you think?
Hmm.
So remember, when you're looking at these puzzles, you always look at a hierarchy of moves, right? So what's the first type of move you always look for? Most forceful move in chess.
A checking move?
Check move, yeah. Always look for a check move first. So look at all the check moves. What do you think? Which one looks good?
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say queen on B2
Mm-hmm.
to G2 because you're pinning the black queen
Queen B2 to where?
to G2.
Okay, so all the way here. Okay, so it's not a checking move. You are pinning the black queen. I mean, he can take and you take, and yeah, it's not really that forceful. Yeah. Anything else? Any other ideas? Monty, are you saying something? No. Okay.
I
I'm
really
thinking.
I almost have it, I think.
Almost had it.
I was mumbling. Sorry about that.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I see it. It's queen to F6.
Queen F6. Okay, so again, not a checking move. So you do give your opponent, just take your queen. So first of all, let me ask you this. Tell me all the moves that white can do to put his opponent in check. What's all the moves?
White can take queen to, nope, never mind.
Yeah, so just to put your opponent in check. So tell me all the moves. How can white put his opponent in check?
With two moves?
No. Just immediately. Just say what's all the moves that white can put their opponent in check. What do you think?
Without risk of
No,
losing?
not without risk. Just any check.
Oh,
Yeah. Just
okay, well, queen to G7.
Queen G7 and what else?
Queen H8.
Queen H8. Okay, so those are the first two to look at. So let's say Queen G7. So let's say he can take back with the rook. Is there any good move after that? No, doesn't look good. So next we look at Queen H8. Check. Now, does that give black any options, or does he just force to take?
King has
He
to.
can,
He's forced to take, right? No options at all. So Queen H8, King takes H8. Now what do you do? You see it?
this is the knight, you move to
To where?
Knight to F7.
F7.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. So you see that. With knights, they're very tricky, right? There's knight forks everywhere. I always say that. Knight forks everywhere, all over the board. So you have to envision like this rook, so the knight can capture the rook, right? So this rook is a knight move away from the queen. So now the question is, can I put the king on a square where he'll be in check? And then you can do that by a beautiful queen sacrifice, queen H8, king is forced to take, and then you have knight F7, beautiful royal fork there, and you win a rook after that combination. So before you could have taken the rook, but the king would have just taken back. You won the exchange, but here you win the rook outright. So much better. Cool. Okay. Let's see this one. What do you think here? White to move with the theme of forks. What's the best move here? Theme of forks.
Is it one move or more than?
So this is another combination. Definitely another combination.
Oh, what about rook to D1 on the first move?
Okay,
And then
rook,
the sec,
rook D1, check. Oh, so rook E or D1 or E1.
I meant E1, I'm
Rook
sorry.
E1. Okay, check. Rook E1. So now you're giving black a lot of choices, right? He can go king D7, king D8, king F7, king F8. So
Okay, cancel that idea.
too many choices, yeah. we need something a little bit more forceful.
Knight D5?
Okay, knight D5. Why knight D5?
Because in your next step, you can go, am I reading this correctly? Knight, well, it depends on where they move, but you can go to knight C7.
Yeah, so you're on the way to forking knight on C7, king and rook. So the nice thing about knight D5 is that so you can also go knight B5 on the way to C7. So why is knight D5 better than knight B5? Why is that?
You're attacking the rook?
Yeah, so what's that called when you're moving and you're gaining space or improving your position and you're attacking your opponent's piece at the same time? Anybody know what that's called?
Is that tempo?
Yeah, so you're moving with the gain of tempo, right? Meaning you're improving your position and your opponent has to respond to your threat that you just made. But that threat is not really the point of why you moved there, but it's nice that you made the threat because now your opponent has to waste time dealing with the threat. And then you go to your final destination, in this case, which is C7, right? So beautiful. Knight D5, attacking the F4 rook. Beautiful. So yeah, so multiple, that's another example of, having a move that has multiple functions, multiple purposes, right? And that's something that you want to try to do in your games is have your moves be multi-purpose, right? If they're just, if they just accomplish one thing, that's okay. But if they can accomplish two or three, even better, right? So doesn't matter where he moves. So he chose to defend his rook, which makes sense. So now he's gonna. So now actually we have two possibilities to do the fork. Knight B6 forking or knight C7 forking. Now let me ask you guys this: which one do you think is the best one?
The two rook forking because it's a little close to your pawn.
Okay, so knight B6, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay. So what do you all think? Knight B6, good move?
maybe not.
I think,
If you take
think-
one of the rooks, you're gonna lose the knight to the other
that's
rook.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Even I mean, still, if you did knight C7, he's going to move his king and say, and then you take and he takes your knight back. But knight B6 is not the best move. Why? There's a reason for that. What can black do?
Just take back.
So let's say we played knight B6. Now what's black's best move there?
Oh, force the knight to move by moving one of his rooks to the B line.
No. So if you move your rook to the B file, then you just take his rook. He loses his rook entirely,
Mm.
right? Because it's no longer protected. So why is knight B6 the inferior of the two choices? Why?
What if you move a rook to A6?
Okay, rook to A6. Okay, you're attacking the knight, but then you lose the rook anyway. So black has a good move here. Knight B6. It does fork, but not so strong. Why? Black has a good move to kind of escape the yeah, I mean, actually looking at it, he doesn't really escape it, but actually black has a way to gain some material. So black can do a little I guess you can say a little in between move, Zwiesenzug move. In between move. What do you think?
Mm.
He can move one of the rooks to the B file to attack an undefended pawn.
No, if you move the rook to the B file, now the other rook is unprotected, and now we win it without we win the rook outright, so we don't want that. So the reason knight b6 is not so good, why? Because it's not as forceful. Like this is a check, right? We're not allowing him to do anything except he has to respond to the check. Whereas knight b6 is not a check. Therefore, we're giving him an opportunity to come back so he can take the pawn on a2, right? And if he takes the pawn on a2, would it be a good idea for us to take his pawn, his rook?
Yes.
What do you think, everyone? Good idea to take his rook if he takes on a2?
No, because then the other one will come.
Yeah. So now if I take his rook, then he brings his other rook down, and now he escaped.
Mm.
He successfully escaped the fork, right? We just traded rooks, and he won a pawn. So the other possibility is let's see. Let's go back. Okay. So if you go here, knight b6, forking the rooks, and he goes rook a2. Instead of capturing, we can go rook e1 check. Now he's forced to move his king. Let's say he goes king f7, and then we can capture the other rook. So it's okay, but we lose a pawn in the process, which is not so good. So in order to avoid that, definitely knight c7 much better, because now he's forced to move his king, and we just capture the rook. He captures it back, and we save our pawn, right? So slightly better is knight c7. Okay, good. So yeah, there you go.
If he captured our pawn, then we would capture him on the next move. And then his other rook would come down to a1, correct?
Okay, let's analyze. Let's go back here. So you're saying if we went here, if he captured here, then what? What'd you say?
Then we would capture him,
Okay.
and his rook would capture our rook.
Yeah.
Next move, the rook comes down to a1.
Yeah. 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 It's true. It's true. It's a mating threat. But yeah. But I'm just saying
But
that
it's a checkmate because the king can't move anywhere.
yeah, it's a checkmate. So yeah. So yeah. And again, he has successfully avoided the fork, right, by trading rooks. So that benefits black definitely. So yeah, that's why knight c7 was definitely the better move. Knight c7, and we win the exchange again. Good. Okay. All right. So let's see the next one. Okay, so this was pretty complicated. So I'll walk you guys through this one. So here, the bishop is controlling the entire this dark square diagonal, a7 to g1. So the king cannot move there, right? So the king cannot move on g3. He's stuck on these two squares. Remember, this bishop is unprotected. That's something to keep in mind. And so the other thing to keep in mind is this pawn is pinned, h3 is pinned, and the queen is doing a nice job of protecting this diagonal, right? So that if the queen was not here, okay, so let's imagine this. If the queen is not here, there's a mate in 2. Anybody see the mate in 2 here? If the d1 queen is not there, there's a checkmate in 2 moves. Can you see it?
Oh. We're talking about black to move, right?
We are. Yes, we're talking about Yeah, black to move. And I'm saying, imagine if the D1 queen is not there. Yeah, if black to move. there's
Knight to G3.
G4, you mean? G4 or G3?
The
Which one?
black knight to G.
Here's G3 and here's
Yeah.
G4. Which one?
Well, it would have to be G3, right? Over 1 and up 2.
So here,
Yeah.
G3, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is not check.
Oh, right. Oh,
Yeah.
what was the
we take the other knight.
the other knight? That's what I
The
was
other
looking
knight,
at.
yeah. So if the
Yeah,
queen is if the
okay.
queen's not here,
Yeah.
the queen is not controlling G4, then we go knight G4 check. Pawn cannot take because it's pinned. King only has one move, right? King to H1, and now mate in 1. Anybody see it? Where's mate in 1?
Knight H3 or knight to G3.
Knight
excuse me.
G3, yeah. Now knight G3 delivers a nice checkmate, and the bishop controls G1. Knight on G4 controls H2, and knight on G3 controls attacks the king. So very nice checkmate. So that's the problem in this position of the queen. That's the problem that we have to solve. Is the queen is controlling G4, so we can't do that. So how do we solve that problem? What do we do?
Remove the defender.
How do you do that?
Oh, advance the pawn. No.
Yeah, pawn to
Yeah.
where?
It's upside down. G3.
The
white.
F3.
Oh, I thought it was white's move.
No. It's black's
Okay.
move. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the other queen.
Yeah. So we need to try to have this queen not protect G4, right? So here F3 is nice because it cuts off the queen from protecting G4. Now we're threatening mate in 2 by what we just said, knight G4, knight G3. So we go F3. So now that threatens mate, and so he goes rook takes. Now what do you think is the best move here? So remember, the goal of this one is not mate, right? This is remember that we're still on the theme of forks, right? So we're going to end with a fork here. So remember, why did we sacrifice this pawn? What was the reason that we did that?
To free up G4.
To block the queen's protection of G4, right?
Right.
So now the queen no longer protects, and now we follow through with our plan, right? Knight G4 check. Okay, and now black only has one move. White only has one move, which is king H1. So now what do we do here? So remember, this is not check. This is not checkmate. This is going to be a fork. What do you think?
The knight to F. Wait a minute. No, I mean, just you have it laid out there as knight to F2.
Yeah, so yes, I can't remove these arrows. In this study, they put these there, but yeah, in these arrows show that that knight F2 does fork the king and queen, but that doesn't work because the rook can just capture the knight. right? So the problem is that the rook is controlling or protecting f2. So how do we get the rook? How do we deflect the rook away from controlling f2? That's the question. So we can do that. Knight f2. What do you think?
Queen to G3.
Queen G3.
Black queen to
No.
D3. So the rook will take.
Actually, Queen G3 is interesting because if you do Queen G3, okay, you're threatening mate. You're threatening mate on H2, right? Which is pretty sneaky. And what happens if? Okay, good. That's very interesting. Queen G3 threatening mate on H2. What if the rook takes the queen? Then what do you do?
Knight f2.
No. In this case, if you go Queen G3, and the rook takes your queen on G3, what can you do?
You take it back with the knight.
And what's that?
Well, it's check.
That's
No,
checkmate.
That's
Yeah.
checkmate.
That's checkmate. So yeah, so basically, if you go Queen G3, your queen is immune to capture. The rook cannot take you because then you take back, and now it's mate. That's pretty nice, right? So that's pretty sneaky. So he could try to like maybe take this knight on G4. That's a possibility. So yeah, it kind of leads to more complications. But so that's not the answer. So what is better than that? What is better than that? What do you think?
Okay. I don't know if we covered this one. I got a little confused. Black knight to F2.
Okay, so the goal is to go to F2. That's the goal.
Okay. Now the rook takes the queen.
The rook takes the knight, right?
No, I was thinking the queen goes there. You should sacrifice.
You mean go to Queen F2 then?
Oh, sorry. But
You
now
mean-
you sacrifice the queen and you put the knight in this where the rook had captured the queen.
Okay. It's not really forceful though, because it's not a check. But yeah, that is a possibility. But he doesn't have to take your queen if he doesn't want to. He can just maybe take this knight on G4, right? He can always just take this knight. So he's not forced to take your queen. So this is stronger. So what we need to do, we need to deflect this F3 rook away from protecting F2. How do we do that?
Knight to G3. No?
Say again?
Knight to G3?
Yeah, knight G3 is the correct answer because why? Because this is forcing the white rook to capture the knight, because if not, then this would be checkmate, right? King has nowhere to move. So knight G3 is the correct answer, forcing the rook to capture. And now we can deliver our beautiful royal fork. Everybody see that? So do you know what that's called? That kind of sacrifice? There's a special name for that. Anybody know? It's called a deflective sacrifice, or decoy. You're deflecting the rook away, or you're putting a decoy so the rook can move away, and then you can, and so that you can jump on a particular square or capture a particular piece. That's a decoy. Very good. And then take your prize. Very nice. All right. So, let's see. You know what? We're going to. No, we're not gonna do this one. So we're gonna do another one. I got right here. This is mine. Okay, good. Okay, so white to move and show me the fork. So this would be a 2-move combination here. What do you think? 2-move combination.
Okay. Rook to A3.
Is the goal to get a checkmate here?
So no. The goal is still forks. We're still on the theme of forks. So it's a little combination. So white to move, we need to use the theme of forks here. So all right. So I can help you guys out with this one. So remember, with knights, you always want to look for combination with knights because knights are so easy to do forks, right? So look at all the squares this knight can move. Knight can move to b7 to deliver a check, and the king has a lot of options, so it's probably not that move, right? Knight can go to c6, but the problem is this knight is protecting c6. So that with that information, what is the best move? What do you think?
You want to protect the knight if you go to C6, right? Or is C6 just bad in general?
So the key to this puzzle is that knight c6 checks the king and also attacks this knight, but which also means that the knight can capture us. So we don't like that, right? So how do we rectify that?
Rook takes D4.
Exactly. Rook takes d4. Now you're luring the rook, right? You're luring the rook onto d4. You could say this is like a deflective sacrifice. You can say, yeah, deflective sacrifice. And the rook takes, and then we deliver beautiful check, and we regain our rook, and we have won a knight in the process, right? So beautiful little combination there to win a piece. So you always got to look for these knight forks, right? They're all over the place. All right, so let's see here. Okay, this one's a couple moves as well. What do you think with this one? Knight forks.
White or black to move?
Oh, white to move. Sorry.
Knight that's on F4 to E6.
Okay, knight at 46. That does fork the rook and queen. Problem is we're going to lose our knight, right? So yeah, with this one, remember, first thing you always look for is what? Yeah, always look for checks, right? So there's actually only one way that you can check, that white can check black in this position, which is what?
You move the queen
To where?
to take the rook.
Yeah, so queen takes f8 is the only check in this position. King takes back, and now is there any combination with that? After that, I don't see any forceful combination. Is there any forceful combination there? Not really, right? So that's not it. So now we ruled out checks, right? So now the next thing we look for is what? On the hierarchy of moves, what do we look for?
A royal fork?
No. So when we're looking at puzzles, you always have a hierarchy, right? First is checks, and then if those don't yield good results, then you look at captures.
Queen, capture the queen.
So, well, we can't capture the queen.
No.
Yeah, we can't capture the queen with anything.
No.
So what can we capture in this position?
What can we capture?
You can capture bishop to F5.
Okay, we can take this the pawn in F5. That's true. Is that a good move?
No.
Probably not, because now he takes back with check.
Oh,
Take back, and now we're in check. So now he's the one attacking, right?
okay.
So we don't want that one.
What if you do queen to D5, capturing the pawn?
Queen D5. Okay, take.
Now you put the king in check, and where's the king going to move?
No. Actually, no good, because no.
Oh, you lose your queen.
Yeah, you just lose your queen. Yeah. Yeah. So what's another capture?
Or get the bishop,
Rook to H4.
Yes, rook to H4 is the other capture that looks interesting, right? So rook takes H4, and now black technically is not forced to recapture the rook, but if he doesn't recapture the rook, we just won a free knight, right? So yeah, he's not. It's not a forced recapture like a check. Would be a forced recapture. He can do anything he wants. He can do bishop d7. If he does that, we just move our rook again, and now we just won a free knight, right? So either we win a free knight or he recaptures. Now, what happens if he recaptures? So now, what is the best move for white here?
We want to put the king into a check, correct?
How?
I just want to make sure I know the rules.
Well, yeah, that's always the first thing you look for, right? Like we would say this is a new puzzle, right? This is the next move, so it's a new puzzle. So go down on the hierarchy of moves again.
the knight on F4
Mm-hmm.
to, it goes up to G6.
Okay, good. So knight G6 is a fork, knight forking the queen and the rook. That's true, but it's not as forceful. Why? Why is it not as forceful?
The queen's gonna do something.
Well, yeah, and you're not. It's not a check move,
Right.
right? We're not putting our opponent in check. So now he's. I mean, he is. We're attacking both, and this threatening to take on F8. That would be, yeah, that would be check. So he can come back to F6, and now if we take here, he can just capture, and now look, everything's equal, right?
Yeah.
Rook, bishop, knight, and rook, bishop, knight. So knight G6, although it is a fork, not as strong. So what's a better move than that?
The other knight to F5, the other white knight.
Okay, so you can go
Did we do
F5.
that?
Doesn't really work. You can just maybe take here,
Hmm.
yeah, check. Now again, now he's attacking. So yeah.
What if you attack his queen? You take the queen and go to E7.
Queen E7. You just lose your queen.
Yeah.
So remember, so let's go down the hierarchy of moves, right? We're looking for checks, right? So show me all the checks.
Bishop to bishop on D3 to H7.
You can't go there. The pawn's in the way. Pawn's
Oh,
blocking. Yeah. It's okay. So what do you think? There's only one way for white to check black in this position. What do you think?
Queen takes F8.
Queen takes F8, the only way. So is this a good move? Let's see. Queen takes F8. King takes F8. Now, do you see a good move here?
Yeah. Knight to G5, G6.
Knight G6. Now knight G6 is an awesome move, right? Now it's a check. Now we're doing a royal fork, and in the process we have won a extra piece, right? So now we are a knight up, right? So beautiful use of a deflective sacrifice, right? So this rook did a deflective sacrifice, deflecting the queen onto H4, and now we wanted to deflect the king onto F8, so we sacrifice our queen and delivering a nice fork, winning back our queen and the rook, and then keeping our extra knight, right? Beautiful. All right. Everybody getting the hang of these forks? Pretty easy, right?
Yeah, really.
All right. Now here's a nice one. This is black to move. Black to move. What is the best move for black with the theme of forks? What do you think?
Knight to F4.
Knight to F4. Okay, so let's see. Knight F4. Okay, that's true. That does deliver a fork for the king and queen, royal fork. Problem is we lose our knight. Right. So, but that's the fork. That's the theme. So the question is, how do we do that without getting captured? That's the question. We got to do something first.
Do we sacrifice the queen so the bishop moves?
Sacrifice the bishop, which might be less painful.
Sacrifice our bishop. Okay.
Bring the bishop down to F2 instead of moving the queen up.
Bishop to F2. I mean, he's not forced to take. You know, he can. Actually, you know what? He can take. He can take because now knight F4 is still not possible. Why? Actually, for two reasons, knight F4 is not possible now.
Oh, rook takes.
Yeah, so the rook is now protecting protecting F4. Also, if we go knight F4 now, king comes over. The black queen is now under attack, right? So he's going to take our queen. So yeah, bishop F4, bishop F2 does not work. So what else do you got? What else?
Greg said queen to F2, right?
Queen to F2. Okay.
Sacrifice. Okay,
you can't sacrifice your queen. I mean, it doesn't really make sense. You know, it's like he can do that. Yeah, check. Here, and actually, after all these captures, now white is still ahead with the rook ahead. So we need a better move than that. So we don't want to sacrifice our queen. What do you think?
Queen H1.
Queen H1. Let's see that. Good. So on the principle of always look for checks first, right? That's very good. So Queen H1 check. Now, how many moves does white have in response to that?
2.
No.
1.
1. Which one?
It has to move the king.
No, you can't move the king.
Pardon?
G4 is protected by
right.
the pawn, right?
Oh, so then he has to move the bishop.
He's got to block. He's got no choice. He has to block. And now what do?
The queen takes the bishop.
No. If we go queen bishop, he just takes the queen. Now
that's right.
Yeah, no good.
Okay, got it.
Okay, better move. What do you think?
Now deliver the fork with the E knight.
And now, why is it different now?
Bishop is pinned.
Yeah, bishop is pinned, right? Beautiful. So now the bishop cannot capture the knight. It is pinned. So this square F4 is not protected. And we're going to win the queen. King G3, knight takes. We win the queen outright. We don't have to sacrifice our queen in the process. Very nice. All right, good.
What if we had tried the bishop? And that's just that tail end of the move, the black bishop coming down to G1.
So instead of knight F4?
Right.
So bring the bishop.
I'm trying to play that out in my mind. So if you come down here And then,
You mean to attack this the bishop on h2?
right,
Okay. I mean, he can just he can protect that way, right? Protect his bishop.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, definitely. Knight f4 is the best move because that's a nice royal fork there.
Okay.
All right. All right. So let's move on to the next one. See if we have time for one more, maybe. Let me think here. Which one do I want to give you? Okay, this is a pretty cool one. All right, we're gonna do. Okay, this is actually a pretty easy one. Can anybody see this? This is a 2-move combination. Anybody can see this one? I'll say
Who to
this is
move?
2-move combination. This one.
Who to move? White?
White to move. White to move. What do you think? So I'll give you a hint with this one. You want to do a deflective sacrifice. So what do you think? White to move.
Rook to b7.
Yeah, very nice. Rook b7. So first thing you got to notice is that knight
Mhm.
can jump on d6, deliver a check, right? So all we need to do is put the queen onto a square so that the fork will be so that the royal fork will be possible, right? So rook b7 is a beautiful deflective sacrifice. If the queen does not take, we're going to take his queen anyway, so he's kind of forced to take. Knight knight d6 delivers beautiful sacrifice, right? So you gotta make sure you look for these every time you move in your knights. They're all over the place. Knight forks, knight forks. Okay, so let's finish on this one. This is a nice little pretty one. This one, I like pretty stuff. So knight a5. I'm gonna walk you through this. Knight a5 check. So now this pawn wants to promote. This pawn wants to promote. So we're gonna do a little pretty combination here. Rook king a7, rook c7 check, king a8, rook c8 check, king a7. We take the bishop. Now we're getting ready to promote our queen, right? So black promotes. Rook b8. Wow. So why did he do that move? So what if the king takes the rook?
We'll promote the pawn.
Yeah, if he takes the rook, then we promote the pawn with check, right?
Oh.
And we both have 2 pawns, but white is also up a knight. So if white can figure out a way to exchange these queens, then it's going to be an easy win for white, right? So yeah, so he doesn't want to capture the pawn. He doesn't want to capture the rook, right? So he delivers a check himself, check, and he picks off this pawn. Queen d5 check, king b2. Okay, he picks off the pawn, and so black is very happy with himself. He's like, haha, I got it. You're dead now. Your pawn is no more. But white has some tricks still. Rook b7 check, king a8, and now there's a killer move here. Killer move. What do you think? Killer move for white to win this position. What do you guys think?
Maybe knight to c6.
Knight c6. Why do you say knight c6?
Because if you move, it would be a 2-move. Yeah, because then you would take the rook and put the king in check, and it's forced. You're stuck. It's no.
Wait. Say it again. Okay, if knight c6, what does black do?
Oh, okay. I think I'm losing my train.
No, it's okay. What does black do? What's black's best move here? What do you think?
I guess to bring the queen up to f8.
Queen f8.
Or
Okay.
or drop it to f6 a6 to threaten the knight.
Okay, so first of all, before we even move the queen, look at both of these pieces. The rook is able to be captured and the knight is able to be captured. Now, what happens if we capture either one of those? What happens if we capture the knight? Then what?
Then the queen is open.
Yeah, then black loses queen, right? So the pawn is pinned. Okay. What happens if he captures the rook?
Royal fork.
Where? What square?
Knight D8.
Knight d8. Excellent. Royal fork.
Mm.
So the rook is indirectly protected by the threat of a royal fork, right? Beautiful use of a fork there. Indirect protection of this rook. The rook looks free, but is not free. Now, if black does not capture either one of these pieces, then white is threatening something else very dire, very serious. What is white threatening here?
Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Where?
By moving the rook to A7 or to B8.
Yeah, double threat of checkmate on B8 or A7. Anybody know what that type of checkmate is called? There's a specific name for that. Anybody know? I believe it's called the Arabian checkmate. The Arabian checkmate. So yeah. So beautiful. This position, it's amazing. This knight can be captured, but it's immune, right? You lose your queen. This rook can be captured, again, lose your queen. Royal fork. There's two threats of checkmate on B8 and A7. Can black protect both of those threats of checkmate?
No.
No, he can't. He goes to F8 to protect B8, then we go to A7, right? He goes to F4, protect B8, same thing, A7. He goes to F2 to protect against A7. We have rook B8 checkmate, right? So very beautiful use of a fork as an indirect protection for your pieces. So that's another use of a fork. All right. So any questions? That's the lesson on forks. I assume you guys are all masters of forks by now. Okay.
Don't we look smarter?
So it's pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. So I think all of these positions use, and actually there's one that used a queen, but we skipped over it. But I think all the ones I showed you use knights. So yeah, knights are very versatile and very easy to use for forks. So always keep those in mind for forks. Yeah. Yeah. So for next week, any requests, or do you want me to do you like this style of lesson where I focus on a particular concept and just go deep into it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
All right, so you want me to do? I can do the other Z, the German word Zwischenzug. You want to try that one? I think we did Zugzwang last time, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So is that okay? We'll do the Zwischenzug.
Mhm.
So you guys
Sounds
can
good.
you guys can
Sounds
learn about
good.
that. Cool.
Sounds great.
All right. Awesome. So I will upload this and email all of you when I get a chance. You know what I'm thinking about doing also? I'm hoping that I can finish watching this Queen's Gambit series so that maybe the last lecture class I can do an analysis of some of the games from the series. Because a lot of chess channels that I follow, they've done analyses of the games themselves and gone in depth into her moves, and because apparently, I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't know if you told me, Greg, but yeah, I read these two articles about it, and they were saying that Garry Kasparov, former world champion, he was consulted for the games featured on that show. So they're really top quality games, and some of them I think are actual past Grandmaster games that they just reused for the show. And then also Bruce Pandolfini was also consulted for the games, who was the he was featured on the featured on Searching for Bobby Fischer movie. So pretty cool. So
one of the things that they referenced a lot was the Sicilian.
Yeah, they did.
And then the reverse Sicilian. So
yeah.
I'm interested to understand, like, it sounded like it was a defense mechanism to the Queen's Raid. Right? The Queen's Gambit.
No, Sicilian is just a different opening. Do you want to study the Sicilian, or do you want me to do like this, like for the next lecture? You want me to do I mean, I think we did a lot of openings already, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Yeah, we already did the openings. I was
Okay.
just interested if, for example, somebody uses a queen's raid on or queen's gambit on
Yeah.
as an opening. So if I'm black, what are there a set of openings that I would use to defend against that? Or
Yeah, Queen's Gambit is usually D4, D5, C4. That's Queen's Gambit. But Sicilian is usually different. That's the result of a king's pawn opening. So E4, C5. So
okay,
it's a
gotcha.
completely different opening. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool because I didn't know that. And so when they were referring to all these different moves and when they were analyzing some of the chess, working as a team, all these names came up and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder how you use this. I wonder if this is a response versus an attack.
Yeah. No, I was so happy that they're really putting chess in the spotlight with this show. It's like a lot of people are talking about it, a lot of articles, a lot of videos on YouTube are popping up on my feed where I see people just go in detail analysis of the series. So it's very nice to see that, and it's really sparking interest in chess again. So very cool. I'm very happy. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing that as maybe a final class. Maybe do an analysis of the games from there. What do you think? Sounds good.
That sounds fun.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah. All right, cool. So next week we'll do Riesenzug. And yeah, looking forward to it. Hope you all have a wonderful week.
You
too.
You too.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for a great class.